Have you ever stumbled upon an old gadget and wondered how it once fit into everyday life? Imagine holding something that was once cutting edge, yet today, it's almost unrecognizable to the younger generation. Hi, I'm Ron, a proud baby boomer born in Chicago, Illinois in 1954. Join me as we journey back to our favorite memories of growing up across the United States. Let's step back in time and rediscover some of these fascinating relics, starting with one that played a crucial role in how we once listened to and preserved sound. Let's begin with the reel-to-reel tape recorder, an icon of audio recording that once reigned supreme in both homes and studios. Picture a large, boxy machine with two big reels of magnetic tape slowly spinning, capturing every note of a song or every word of a conversation. Unlike today's digital recorders, using a reel-to-reel required a certain level of expertise. You had to thread the tape carefully through the machine's various components, ensuring it was properly aligned before hitting record or play. The process of rewinding or fast-forwarding wasn't instantaneous. You'd watch the reels spin rapidly, the tape blurring into motion as you searched for the right spot. The sound quality was warm, rich, and authentic, capturing nuances that many argue digital recordings can't replicate. But beyond the technicalities, there was something deeply satisfying about the physicality of the machine. The way the reels turned, the gentle hum of the motor, and the tactile engagement with the music. It was more than just a recording device. It was a part of the experience of listening and creating. Remember the Viewmaster? If you ever held one of those red plastic viewers up to your eyes, you know what I'm talking about. You'd click that little lever on the side, and like magic, a new 3D scene would appear before you. It was more than just a toy. It was a gateway to distant lands, wild adventures, and imaginative dreams. Each circular reel was like a tiny film, waiting to be explored. Swapping out the reels, one by one, felt like uncovering hidden treasures. And the excitement wasn't just in the images. It was in the tactile experience of holding the viewer, feeling the satisfying click, and sharing those moments with friends or family. Today, with VR headsets and instant access to 3D content, the simple joy of the Viewmaster might seem quaint. But for those who experienced it, it was pure magic. Let's talk about something that required a bit more elbow grease. Rolling down a car window with a crank. Yes, before everything became automatic, rolling down a window was an event in itself. It wasn't just about pressing a button. You had to physically crank the window handle, sometimes with ease, but often with a bit of effort. Some windows would glide down smoothly, while others felt like a mini workout. But once the window was down, there was a sense of accomplishment. You'd earned that refreshing breeze, and in a strange way, it connected you to the car. Music lovers of today might be surprised to learn that listening to a record used to be a bit of a ritual. Picture this: you're sitting in your living room, carefully placing a 45 record on a turntable. But wait, there's a small problem. The record has a larger hole in the center, so you need a tiny adapter to make it work. Placing that adapter was almost like a ceremonial act, bridging the gap between the record and the player. And then, as the needle found its groove, the room would fill with the warm, crackling sound of music. It wasn't just about hearing the songs, it was about the entire process, the anticipation, the careful handling, and the unique sound that only vinyl could deliver. While vinyl has made a comeback in recent years, the quirks of 45s and the need for an adapter are details that many new listeners might not even think about. But for those who lived it, it was all part of the charm. Classrooms have come a long way, but do you remember when the overhead projector was the centerpiece of every lesson? This wasn't just a tool, it was the heart of the classroom. The teacher would place a transparency sheet on the glass, and like magic, notes and diagrams would appear on the screen for everyone to see. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. Sometimes the transparency would slip out of place, requiring quick adjustments, or the focus would need to be manually fine-tuned to keep the image sharp. After the lesson, those sheets had to be cleaned, ready for the next use. It was a bit messy, a bit imperfect, but it was also engaging in a way that today's digital smartboards might never fully replicate. There was a hands-on element. a sense of involvement that made the learning experience feel more connected. And how about making a phone call on a rotary dial telephone? This was a task that demanded patience and precision. Each number on the dial required a deliberate turn, followed by that satisfying click-click as the dial spun back into place. It wasn't just a quick tap like today's smartphones. It was a process, and each step was intentional. Conversations often took place in the kitchen or living room, where the phone cord kept you tethered to one spot. There was no wandering around the house while chatting. You were anchored in one place, which often led to long, meaningful talks. In today's fast-paced world of texting and instant messaging, the slow, measured process of making a phone call on a rotary phone feels almost like a meditation. Before calculators became ubiquitous, there was the slide rule, a tool that was both a marvel of engineering and a test of mathematical skill. For anyone tackling complex calculations before the 1970s, the slide rule was an essential companion. It wasn't just about getting the right answer, it was about understanding the process behind the numbers. The sliding scales and precise markings required careful handling and a good grasp of mathematical principles. In a way, using a slide rule made math feel more tangible, more real. You weren't just punching in numbers, you were actively engaging with the calculations. Today, with digital calculators and computers doing all the heavy lifting, the slide rule stands as a symbol of a time when math was as much about the journey as it was about the destination. If you've ever seen a Rolodex, you might have thought it was just an old-fashioned address book. But for those who used one, it was so much more. A Rolodex wasn't just a place to store contact information, it was a snapshot of your personal and professional networks. Each card represented a relationship, a person you'd met, a business connection you'd made, or a friend you wanted to stay in touch with. Flipping through the Rolodex wasn't just about finding a number, it was about revisiting those connections, recalling the moments that led you to add that card in the first place. The physical act of spinning the Rolodex, searching for that one card, is something that today's digital contact lists just can't replicate. It was a tactile experience, a reminder that our networks were built one connection at a time. And then there was the Polaroid camera, the original instant gratification device. In an era long before smartphones and Instagram, Polaroid cameras offered something truly magical. You'd snap a picture, and within moments, a square print would slide out of the camera, slowly developing before your eyes. There was something almost magical about watching the image appear, shaking the photo in eager anticipation to see how it turned out. Unlike today's endless streams of digital photos, each Polaroid was unique, a one-of-a-kind snapshot that couldn't be duplicated. Let's take a step back to when watching TV wasn't just a passive activity. It was a full-on experience. Before remote controls and digital menus, changing the channel meant getting up, walking over to the TV, and physically turning the dial. Each click of the knob moved you through the handful of available channels, and sometimes you had to fine-tune the picture with a separate dial to get a clear image. These boxy television sets were heavy, often taking center stage in the living room as a piece of furniture. The effort it took to operate them made watching TV a more deliberate choice. You didn't just mindlessly flip through channels. You picked a show and stuck with it, partly because it was just too much work to keep getting up to change the channel. So, what do we lose when these objects fade from memory? We lose a connection to a time when life was a bit more hands-on, a bit more intentional. These items were more than just tools. They were part of our daily rituals, our shared experiences. As technology continues to evolve, it's worth pausing to remember the objects that brought us to where we are today and the stories they carry with them. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.